Peggle.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ferret64 podcast with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferret64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. We got a pretty big episode today. We got the monthly pickups. We got a state of play. We got the ROG Xbox Ally price reveals. We got a Nintendo person stepping down, and there's even more. Finished Hollow Knight this week as well. So this episode is going to be a jam-packed, big episode. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it with what have I picked up this past month. All right. For the month of September, it was a pretty light month, all things considered, compared to the other months that we've had here. But I am starting to tone down my collecting as we go into the months of the holidays to save a little bit of money for, gifts for people. But at the same time, I still need to get gifts for myself throughout the year, right? So here we got a couple of things here to look at. Starting off with a game you probably already guessed, Borderlands 4, brand new release here. Y'all knew I was getting this. There was no reason not to in my eyes. I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast if you want to check out those episodes. The game is in my console right now. I would have more new releases, but Dying Light the Beast did not have a physical release. Chronos, the New Dawn, the physical release was delayed, and I didn't feel like waiting for it, so I just bought it digitally. And then Hollow Knight was also just a digital release. So this is the only brand new game that has come out recently that I've gotten physically. So kind of feels weird, but at the same time, there it is, Borderlands 4. I made the mistake of eating spicy chips before recording today, so I apologize about that. First up, we got some new old games, right? Some games that are, these are all limited run, so there you go. Doom plus Doom 2. I bought this, I think this was a year ago that they had the pre-orders for this available. I wanted to pick this up because I thought it was a fun little collection. There it is. Complaining moment. The disc arrived loose in the case, and I had to do my little fix to get it back in the place, and I just pushed it back out. So many of these limited run games, including another one that's in this pile, this happens where I get them and they're loose in the case, and it's like for a distributor of limited media, that's just unacceptable in my opinion. Like, these things are shipped in these bubble wrapped, sealed things. The disc should not be popping out in them, in my opinion. But yet, you get your disc, and it's just loose. It's just absolutely loose. And it's like, this is one that I'm probably not going to open, at least not anytime soon, because I already own at least Doom 1 on a different platform. And also, I believe you can play Doom 2 on the Xbox Game Pass at this moment. So it's just one of those things that it's very annoying. I don't think that there will be any I don't think there'll be any stop to this because quality control obviously is out the window nowadays. But there you go, Doom 2 with a loose disc, my favorite thing ever. Also from Limited Run, we got Potato Sack Racing Simulator 2024 Physical Mega Chad Edition. So you might be wondering, what the fuck is this? And I was wondering the same thing about a year ago when this popped up in my feed on the PlayStation. And I knew that it was like a really, I wouldn't say it's like a shitty game, but I knew it was kind of like one of those goofy, trolly kind of games, right? And when they announced that they were doing a physical edition of this, I said, you know what? I just can't pass that up. I want this to be in my collection. It'll be a talking point. I'll probably buy it digitally because I think it's like only $10 digitally. Probably buy it digitally to play it. But having the physical here, I couldn't pass it up. I'm sorry. And then last from Limited Run Games, we have Gradius Origins. This is the collection of Gradius games, plus they added a new one. I felt like this was a pretty easy choice for me to pick up. Just a lot of cool things here. If you like shmups, Gradius is obviously one of the better shmups in the game. Yeah, we have that right there. Gradius Origins. Now we have some, just some older games here. Some of them are sealed, some of them are not. First up is Rock Band 3 on the Nintendo DS. I played the PSP version of Rock Band not too long ago, which I loved a lot. So I was like, you know what? I'll get the DS version of Rock Band 3. We'll see how that goes. It's a very, like, there's a really large manual in here, I think, because this thing is, like, bulging outward with what's inside. So I am excited to try that out. I'm still playing Steel Diver, so this will probably be the next one up when I'm done with that. Also, this is actually our first game for the Halloween season. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game, and this edition included the DLC from Outer Space. I have not opened it yet because I'm waiting to play it on stream, but that is soon. If you're listening and or watching this on the day that it's uploaded, actually the same day on September 29th, we are starting our Halloween streams, and the whole background will be changed. But as of right now, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that'll be our first game. Also, I think I posted this in the Discord, but John Wick Hex, which is a game that was delisted, I guess they found extra copies of the game in a Amazon warehouse or something like that. So you had physical copies of John Wick Hex out in the wild for like $20 or so, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick that up. Because on eBay, the only available copy of this game was like $4,000, which is like, obviously I'm not going to pay that. But now, those people who were trying to rip others off, well, there you go. I got this for $20. Nana nana boo boo. Stick your face in doo doo. And then finally for today, I decided to pick this game up because I don't know where my copy of it went. I think I had a PS4 copy that I sold back in the day. But DMC, Devil May Cry, this is the reboot of the Devil May Cry series that obviously only lasted for one game. It was fairly cheap on eBay, and I said, you know what? I have every other of the Devil May Cry games physically, whether it be for collections or actual games. So I said, you know what? Let's just get DMC just to finish it out. Eventually, I am planning on playing the Devil May Cry series on stream. It was a idea for like a monthly thing, like a themed month, a couple years ago now. But I've decided to put that on hold for now for various reasons. But we did get DMC. Eventually, it will be played. And that's it for this week, folks. Let's go ahead and move on to what was announced at that game showcase. As usual, for whatever reason, there is no article out there that I found that has the announcements from the State of Play in order, so I'm going to go through these as they appear on the pushsquare.com website, okay? And first up is, of course, the final thing that they announced at the State of Play, which was Wolverine. Wolverine had a gameplay debut, and it's set to release in fall of 2026. And a lot of people were afraid, like, oh, are they gonna just, you know, make it a basic Wolverine game, like a Lego game essentially, without too much gore or blood in there? And no, they actually have designed this game much like the older Wolverine games, like the one that was based off of the movie that came out in like 2009 or something like that, where, yeah, you're actually like slicing and dicing through people, ripping off limbs, cutting through heads and stuff like that, finishing moves galore. So it does look like the game that I wanted and a lot of other people really wanted as well. So you play as, of course, Logan, who is, I would say he's going through some shit. He's on the run, and he's being hunted by some sort of militia, I suppose you could say. And these people have like augmented their bodies to have like, it's almost like the enemies from Spider-Man Miles Morales, where they kind of those people didn't like replace their limbs with the cybernetics, but these people are replacing their limbs with cybernetics. So, yeah, that is that. They revealed that Mystique is going to be in the game along with Red something or another. I forget the guy's name. He has like tentacles coming out of his arms. But yeah, this is definitely a big departure from the Spider-Man games that Insomniac has been making for the past couple of years. And it's definitely more brutal, gory, visceral than the other games that we've seen from them. I mean, I'm thinking about Insomniac. Like, they were the ones behind a lot of the more, I guess, friendly games, right? And then Marvel Spider-Man comes around. It's like, yeah, they feel like the perfect company to take this over because Spider-Man's like a jovial character. He's a funny kind of character, and of course, there's serious moments. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I felt like they were a good team to take on the Spider-Man series. And then, of course, Spider-Man 2 comes around, and they make it a little bit more violent, a little bit more whatever, and that's when you learn that Wolverine is in development. It's like, oh, of course. They're kind of stretching their wings by having Spider-Man 2 be a bit more of a brutal game with Venom being in there. And now we have, of course, Wolverine coming around, which looks really good. It looks really good. They did a big deep dive with, like, the voice actors and whatever, and it's like, that's all great. I enjoyed all that. But yeah, I mean, for a finale for the show, it was great. But you're kind of wanting that one more thing afterwards because they kind of set it up that way by doing like a little bit of a montage and whatever. And then they didn't have like a one more thing. So the Wolverine was the end of the showcase, which is like, that's a good ending showcase thing, except for the fact that they kind of left you hanging there at the end. But I'll get into more about that later. The game, the state of play actually started off with Soros, which is the new game coming from the same people who did Returnal, House Marquee or Marquet. And the footage looks really good. I mean, it's pretty much just Returnal 2, right? And we knew that going into this direct, right? They changed it up a little bit, though, by having the enemies shoot blue bullets at you instead of red. But you also have a shield ability in this game, so you can take a few hits, and the shield apparently recharges pretty fast because they're using it a lot during the gameplay. Also, you have like this new dodge move, which turns you into like I don't know, like particles or whatever, which is kind of cool. And it's of course a roguelite once again, but they did emphasize that the story is going to be more forward-facing in this one, which I do like that idea as well. The enemy design looks really cool. The only thing that kind of concerns me about the game is that it's very brown. Like it's just a lot of brown in the trailer here and the gameplay snippets. It just doesn't really pop like you would want it to. But maybe that is to contrast like the bullets and stuff coming at you, being a brighter bluish color. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but like we're going back to like the Xbox 360 PS3 era where everything was just brown and gray, and this whole trailer was just brown. There's like a brown hue to the entire thing. Now they did show off a couple of bosses, I guess. They didn't really show what they did, but there was like a flying boss and a guy with like multiple arms, which I thought was really cool. They also showed off that you have like an extra life, and you probably will be able to upgrade that as you go. But yeah, essentially, if you go down during a fight, you have a chance to essentially get back up and take the fight back to the characters. So. Or the enemies. So, yeah, I mean, the game looks good. From a visual design, I wish that it popped a bit more, but other than that, I think the game is looking good, and they revealed that it is coming in 2026, March 20th of 2026. So, Wolverine seems to be their late release in fall, probably around the same time that Ghost of Yotai is coming out this year. We'll probably see Wolverine in, like, September, October. And then, of course, we have Soros, which is our early launch title in March. So you're kind of wondering, like, are they going to fill the void in the middle there? Are they going to do some other releases in there? I mean, we don't really know about anything else coming from the studio, at least nothing that's been concrete. So I guess we'll just wait and see if they're doing another 2-game release schedule. I feel like they've done 2 games for a little while now. I feel like because like Last of Us Part 2 came out, and then there was another game that same year, Ghost of Tsushima, right? I feel like that was like a 2 release kind of year. But then we've also had other games mixed in there as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens. and I'll let you guys know if anything comes up in the meantime, of course. During this stream, the state of play games for October were announced, and they are Alan Wake 2, Goat Simulator 3, and Cocoon. There are two games here that are really good. Alan Wake 2 is obviously a very good game. Now, personally, I wasn't like super hyped on it. Like, I still gave it a pretty nice score of like a 4 out of 5 because I think that in general it's a good game. But you know, it's just like just a personal thing. I didn't like super get crazy about it. Cocoon is a very good game, 5 out of 5 game in my opinion. Now, obviously, it didn't make it onto my top 10 list the year that it came out, which I addressed during that video. But you know, it was a great puzzle game. I really enjoyed it. Just other games that had more meat and bones to them ended up getting onto the list over Cocoon. And then Goat Simulator 3, I played it a bit when it came out. It has a really funny opening with the Skyrim, parody. But it's pretty much just Goat Simulator again. And I think that joke kind of wore out back when they did Goat Simulator. And now we have a Goat Simulator remastered and Goat Simulator 3. And it's like, I don't know if I really need any of this. But that is available, or those will be available the first Tuesday of the month, which are October 7th. So you have to wait an extra week there because of that. Also, some extra and premium tier games were revealed as well, including Last of Us Part 2. Both the PS4 original version and the remastered version on PS5 will both be available on the 26th of September, which is already available now on the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium tiers. The premium games. We know that these games are coming soon. We don't know exactly when, though. We have Tekken 3, Soul Calibur 3, and Tomb Raider Anniversary, which originally released on the PS2. These are 3 good games. Tekken 3 on the PS1, bit of a classic there. Soul Calibur 3 on the PS2. Not my favorite of the Soul Calibur series. Obviously, Soul Calibur 2 was like my main bread and butter, which is not on the service very oddly enough. Even though, well, maybe there is something with Heihachi being on the PS2 version. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Soul Calibur 3 is still a good game, has some character customization in there and some new mechanics in there if you want to check that out. And then Tomb Raider Anniversary, I've never played this one, but I believe this is I believe it's a pretty well-received Tomb Raider game. But once again, we don't know exactly when these games are coming. We just know that they are coming soon, eventually. Speaking of coming soon, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is coming to the PlayStation 5 in December. Also, not just coming to the PS5, but also there will be support for the PSVR 2, which is kind of crazy. So if you want to, I guess, fly planes in first person, you will be able to do that in the VR cockpit. So yeah, this is the latest version of Microsoft Flight Simulator after the reboot of the series. This is the latest and greatest, of course. Now, I feel like Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is the new standard for the next couple of years, and then they'll release another Flight Simulator game eventually down the road. It's cool to see this game coming to PlayStation 5. It's a series that has been away from the PlayStation its entire lifespan, so pretty cool there. It's a simulation game. What more can you want from that? And yeah, like I said, that comes in December 8th. Crimson Desert had a release trailer, or not a release trailer, a release date trailer, and they revealed that the game has been pushed out of 2025 and towards March 2026, which is kind of funny because Soros, the big PlayStation, published game and developed game, is coming in March as well. So they're going to be going up against this game that they are also side by side doing a bit of a commercial for, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, they're two very different games. Crimson Desert is an open world, massive RPG. Soros is a roguelite third-person shooter. The game looks good. I mean, there's a lot of good moments in this from the trailer, but then there's also some concern to have, in my opinion. There's some images, or I guess sections of the game that kind of look pixelated in my opinion, and then they also had like this weird texture on the monster's hair when the light was shining through it. I thought that was maybe a bit weird to use for a trailer because it didn't look all that great. But yeah, the Crimson Desert is coming March 19th, 2026. There's a couple of pre-order goodies if you want to pre-order that. They also revealed the collector's edition as well, not on the stream, but on the side. And the collector's edition is actually $280. I mean, this is a crazy collector's edition with a lot of content, but also comes with a high price tag. So what do you get inside of this thing? You get all the pre-order bonuses of like the extra armor sets and weapons and stuff like that. You get the full game on a disc, which is, I guess, a selling point now. You get an exclusive 17-inch diorama featuring Cliff in the Battle of the Golden Star. You get the collector's edition steelbook. You get the fabric map of Pywell, letter from the developer, gray mane brooch pin, 3 character photo cards, 3 patches. You also get in-game bonus content, including a Tormented Soul Bow, Dericta Spear, Celios Longsword, Shroud Lantern, and the Hyperion Horse Track Set. And then you also get the stuff from the Deluxe Pack as well, the Bulgarian Shield, the Exclair Horse Track Set, and the Kairos Plate Set. You also get the pre-order bonus, which is the Khaled Shield, and you get a PlayStation 5 exclusive bonus, the Grotavant Plate Set. So yeah, I mean, the diorama itself is pretty cool. It's like a dragon overlooking the character in some ruins. That's kind of cool. I guess that's what most of the price is. Plus, the map is pretty nice too. It's very nice. It looks like it's very nice quality. Everything else, though, I mean, you're throwing in like a brooch and a steelbook and some photo cards and whatever. I don't know. Like there's some weird things that they're putting in here just to maybe fluff it up a bit with for the price tag. But if you are very excited about this game, you may want to pick this up if you so desire. The Ultimate Pack Edition and the Deluxe Edition / Ultimate Pack Edition, $90 for that. The Standard Edition is $70, which is the standard. All right, the Disco Elysium follow-up game got a trailer during this as well, confirming that it is getting a PS5 release. This one's called Zero Parades, and it does have a very similar style to, of course, Disco Elysium, with its kind of a unique graphic style and whatnot. I believe this will have voice acting on day one, so you don't need to worry about that. Disco Elysium added that in post. The world design is really cool. It is very much like Disco Elysium itself. The gameplay, I mean, it's hard to say exactly what it is. It's very much like almost like a point and click adventure, where you choose your path and roll dice to have your fate be decided, of course. But there's also some, I guess, scrutiny around this game being so closely looking like Disco Elysium. People are saying that they're trying to capitalize on the success of Disco Elysium by having it look so much like Disco Elysium. But at the end of the day, I think Zaum, I think that's what the developer is. If they have a unique style for their games and they have a unique way that they want to do it, then just let them do it. I don't know. What does it really matter if it looks like Disco Elysium? It's called something different. It's a completely different game. But I guess I can see where people are coming from. A game called Chronoscript: The Endless End is a new Metroidvania coming from a studio called Shueisha Games. This one is a pretty interesting one. It's got a hand-drawn art style where you play as a person who gets sucked into a book that they haven't finished yet, or it's an unfinished book. And essentially you need to go through this unfinished draft and survive and make it to, or make an ending for the book. So it was a very cool and interesting idea. The pages of the manuscript are like spread out across this desk, so sometimes you need to go inside of like an ink patch to go to another page. I think that's very cool. It looks like it's going to be a pretty beefy game as well. That is coming in 2026. I think it looks really good. Deus Ex is getting a remaster. This is the original Deus Ex. It's being remastered for the PS5, PS4, Xbox systems, and PC. But they revealed it here at this State of Play. Now, there is a very goofy PS2 version of this game, which I do not believe that they are taking this remaster from. And if they do, that would be a very bad idea because the PS2 version of Deus Ex was not well received. Now, if they're using the PC version, that would be much better, of course. Now, this isn't like a super big reveal, in my opinion. Like, it's cool. I'm glad that they're touching this game up and re-releasing it. At the same time, not too crazy about it, but this is coming February 5th, Deus Ex Remastered. Now, the game is not like completely redone from the ground up. They just kind of touched up the graphics, the lighting effects and stuff like that. Just kind of put the game onto modern platforms, which, I think is better than actually doing a full remake of that. Dynasty Warriors 3 is also getting a remake. Actually, I'm sorry, this is getting a remake, not a remaster. So essentially, the original Dynasty Warriors 3, I believe it came out on the PS2 back in the day, and they have decided to, completely remake the game for the newer audience. So it very much uses the same graphic style and whatnot of the latest experience, Dynasty Warriors Origins. And this might be the one that I played back in the day on a 360. It was either 4 or 3. I don't even remember at this point. But they spruced it up. It looks good. Like, I'm not going to say it looks bad. They're calling this the complete edition as well. Not sure exactly why it's the complete edition because there was no DLC back in the day. But this is coming March 19th, 2026. They are going up against Crimson Desert, which is pretty weird, pretty crazy. But I think this it's a nice remaster. I'm surprised they didn't do the first game, but maybe they decided to do the third one because it is a very popular one with the fans. All right, with Halloween season coming up, they announced the Halloween games release date, and that is coming September 8th, 2026. A little bit before October, strangely enough, but at the same time, it's a whole year out, so does it even matter? But this is coming from the same people who did the Friday the 13th game, along with a Ghostbusters game as well. Obviously, it's very similar to the Friday the 13th game. The main difference here is that Michael Myers can go into shade mode and appear randomly around corners or behind people, which I think is like a cool idea. I think it definitely works for the character because he's always showing up where you least expect him, right? And it's another one of those isometric kind of horror games where it's a group of like 4 or so people going up against one killer. And I guess the other twist of this game is the fact that, like, if you take Michael Myers down, he just gets right back up after a few minutes, I guess. So we'll see how you win as the humans in the game. Whether getting to it like an escape point or surviving long enough, I don't know. But hopefully this one has a bit of a more stable development cycle and release cycle than Friday the 13th. I remember there being a whole bunch of issues with Friday the 13th, the game, with its licensing and stuff like that, publishing as well. So hopefully the Halloween game here has a bit better of a lifespan. But still, the game looks fine. Like, I'm not complaining. But check that out if you want to. The sequel to Let It Die is coming up. It's called Let It Die Inferno. The original Let It Die game was a free-to-play Souls-like-ish game with PvPvE elements, and this one is about the same, but it's also an extraction game as well. So instead of it just being a Souls-like kind of experience, it's an extraction-type experience with the same kind of gameplay, I think. You'll be taking on the role of an immortal explorer called a Raider, and you'll embark on a quest to uncover the Ultra energy hidden within the Hellgate, a massive chasm born from an unprecedented cataclysm. In Let It Die Inferno, players will dive deep into the series world with new stories, expanded lore, and more Uncle Death. So this is a game that came out in the PS4 era. I thought it was fine, all things considered. I didn't play a lot of it because it felt like a free-to-play game, right? And this one kind of has that same vibe of like, yeah, it's a free-to-play game. It's not like the most polished thing ever. We'll see how it goes, though, because this one is much more ambitious than the last one, being a PvPvE like extraction game. We'll just see how it goes. I like the skeleton guy with the 3D glasses on. I think he's a cool idea of a character. There's a couple of pre-orders that are available. The digital copy of the game is free to play, so you don't have to worry about that. But there's a deluxe edition, which has a support pack, Sasuke body bundle, the ability to create game rooms as well. And then also the Ultimate Edition has everything I just mentioned, along with a power-up support pack and a 10-body bundle. I said it was free-to-play, but I don't know if it's free-to-play. The last one was free-to-play. I'm wondering if this one is paid, because the Standard Edition... Let me check the PlayStation Store real quick. I can't find it right now, but it might actually be paid. A paid game this time around. We'll see. All right, the 7 Deadly Sins Origin game came around again. This is a anime game by... it's a very anime game, obviously based on an anime, The Seven Deadly Sins. Look, when games like this come around that I'm not super interested in, not really that hyped about, like, the only thing I can really do is nitpick them and whatever. The main thing here is just this game just does not look that enjoyable. It looks a bit boring in my opinion. But they did say that it was going to be coming January 28th, 2026. You can pre-order it now. Um, yeah, you can check it out if you want to. I'm not going to dive into it. The Last Epoch is coming to PlayStation 5 in 2026 alongside its first major expansion. This game is already available on the PC, so once this next expansion comes out called Orbis, that will be when the game comes to PS5, which I think is a cool way for them to get that all started. I believe that this is a DLC expansion, so if you get The Last Epoch day one, I believe you have to pay for the expansion as well, but I'm not so sure about that, so don't quote me on that. But the game is coming 2026 if you want to check that out on PS5. Neo 3 officially is coming to PS5 in February of 2026. The official release date is the 6th of February 2026. Very excited for this. They are pricing this one at $70, which I thought was a bit odd in my opinion. But the game looks really good. This trailer was more of like a story-ish trailer, showed off some characters from the game and some bosses that show up. I think the game is going to be very good. It's going to have a bit of a unique, a different style than the other Neo games, while also keeping that Neo flair of fighting yokai and whatnot. Yeah, I'm very interested in that, of course. And it looks like February is going to be a pretty busy month, along with March after that. So, make sure you choose your games wisely if you're video gaming on a budget. For me personally, this game comes out the 6th, Mario Tennis comes out on the 12th, and then Resident Evil Requiem comes out on the 27th. So that's 3 games right there, kind of almost in a row that I'm planning on getting. Other games in the mix are Dragon Quest VII Reimagined and Yakuza Kiwami 3 plus Dark Tide. So pretty busy month in February, but also a pretty busy March as well coming up after that. So there you go. Another trailer for Code Vein 2 was in here as well. This is joining the 2026 early release schedule on January 30th. So that's a game coming out before those other February games I just talked about. Code Vein 2 features a deep narrative where players and characters are bound by blood, fate, and destiny, set in a future where the last remnants of humanity and revenants struggle against the world on the verge of collapse. Following the sudden emergence of a threat known as the Luna Rapacius, Revenants has succumbed to the madness, transforming the terrifying creatures called Horrors. Wow, very, very special. The game looks better than the original Code Vein, in my opinion. It's a much more detailed and polished looking game, and we'll see how the gameplay is once that comes around. Gran Turismo 7 got a massive update for the game as the series tops 100 million units sold. So this new update is going to include 2 new tracks called the Yas Marina Circuit and the Circuit Gilles Villanueve. There will be 8 new cars, a Dunlop tires, data logger, collector's level cap is going to be increased, unlimited car invitations in Brand Central, enhanced weekly challenges, new opening movie, a new menu book and seasonal menu, new events in circuit experience, new curations in escapes, and improved online racing. So yeah, that's all coming in the latest update for Gran Turismo 7. Mega Man is coming to Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Mega Man and his buddy, whatever the fuck this guy's name is, Proto Man. Sorry, I don't know the Mega Man lore. This was previously leaked, but we already kind of knew about this. But it's revealed that they are getting their own unique cars, along with, of course, them being in the game themselves. The DLC pack will come for free in the premium edition of the game, or you can buy it separately along with the other DLCs like SpongeBob, Pac-Man, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So there you go. Pretty cool stuff. Battlefield 6 had the first look at the campaign here during the State of Play. There was obviously a more in-depth look at it on IGN's YouTube channel and also the Tokyo Game Showcase. I think the story campaign stuff is looking good. We won't really know anything until the game actually comes out, but from what I've seen with this trailer and with IGN's stuff that they released, it looks good. I'm very excited about this. And that is also coming soon in October as well, along with Ghost of Tsushima. All right, next up, God of War is celebrating its 20th anniversary, and you might be asking yourself, well, what is Sony doing for that? Well, here's what they're doing. They're releasing a God of War 3-inspired controller that features a red stripe down the side. I am not fucking kidding. Yes, it does. It look like the tattoo on Kratos' face. Sure, it really just follows the curvature of the controller. This is a very bare bones and uninspired controller. It doesn't even have the God of War logo on the touchpad, the old one or the new one. It doesn't have any of. It doesn't even like my idea of a God of War 20th anniversary controller. Like, you can keep the red stripe, that's fine, but have the Omega symbol branded into the touchpad. Have the joysticks be red. Have the chains of Olympus, like burn marks around the bottom of the controller. Like, I feel like there's so many more things you could do with this controller, but it's pretty much just a white controller with red accents on the buttons and a red stripe down the right side, which is just really disappointing in my opinion. And of course, everyone was like hoping, like, oh, they're revealing a controller. Does that mean that we're getting like the Greek Trilogy collection or a remaster of the original game? No, unfortunately not. This is just a bare bones controller being released for the PlayStation 5. It's $85 if you want to check it out. It'll be available on the 23rd of October, and pre-orders are going to start on October 3rd. I will not be touching this one. I don't really touch a lot of these controllers, but this one is one in particular that I just feel like it's very just a nothing kind of controller. It's just a white controller with some red on it. That's pretty much it. If it was a true 20th anniversary controller, I feel like there would be something on that touchpad. There would be more stuff to this controller, but as it is, it's just a pro controller. That's the cost is up a little bit because it has a special design to it, which just really is annoying. I ranted for that a pretty long time on the live stream. Another thing I kind of ranted about was the Sony official desktop speakers. You can buy these for the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation Portal, or your at-home desktop. They come in black and white colors. These speakers are, they're just like, I don't know. It's just like a real big nothing thing to me, right? Like, how many people are gonna go out there and buy these Sony speakers? I'm sure they have really good technology in them. They boasted that they can make the game sound like you have 3D audio, which doesn't really make sense to me. They also boasted that you can adjust the thing from standing straight up to being a little bit curved back. Ooh, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. They also announced that there is a charging stand included with the speakers. Wow, the bare minimum. They also have a built-in mic with AI-enhanced noise reduction, which, I mean, the Switch 2 works fine. I'm sure that this will work fine as well. It's just something that, like, I never would have thought of in a million years. A speaker inside of just a desktop, a microphone inside of desktop speakers just really doesn't, I just don't care. Like, I just don't care. It is nice that there is Bluetooth technology inside of the speaker, so you can connect to the Portal, you can connect to the PS5, but then there's also the USB-C adapter for them so that you can connect to your computer or to the PS5. The Bluetooth, I think, only works with the PlayStation Portal, which is very bizarre in my opinion. Also, the fact that they made the way to connect it to the PC a USB-C is very strange as well. Most computers do not have more than one USB-C port on them, and that's going to be taken up by something. If you're a gamer, you already have a USB-C cable plugged into your computer, or you have one that you can plug into your computer. I just feel like it's taking up a slot for something that is a very limited thing nowadays. I'm sure we'll get more USB-C slots on computers as they age, but like my computer that I built about a year and a half ago at this point, it has one USB-C port on the front, and I believe it has one on the back, and that's it. There's two there, and one of them is taken up by when I need to do something with that front port. So it's just a very strange thing. I feel like they should have made it like at least Bluetooth 2.0. I feel like that would have been not Bluetooth. I'm sorry, USB 2.0. I think that would have been much better. They also did not say if it comes with two charging stands. I think it does because in the video it showed that both of them are connected with a wire. I wouldn't be surprised though if they got stingy and decided to only give you one. The other thing too is like if you lose this charging stand or if something happens to the charging stand, um, it is a unique charging apparatus. It's not just like a USB-C charger. It is like a unique thing there. So you would also have to buy a separate item if you lost that cable or something happened to that cable, which is pretty annoying as well. They did not reveal a price point for this yet, but it just says this is not something that I'm really that interested in. And once again, like this whole state of play was just kind of like a big nothing until Wolverine came around. Of course, it started with a bang with Soros. It ended with a bang with Wolverine. But the rest of the showcases kind of felt, I just felt wanting, right? There wasn't really that much going on. You could have revealed the PlayStation Plus extras and premium games and essential games anywhere else, like on Twitter, as you normally do. Microsoft Flight Simulator, sure, it's cool to see the series coming to the PlayStation, but it's not something that most people are going to be interested in my opinion. Crimson Desert, I get why they're showing this here. I think it's a bit weird that the game is coming out pretty much on the same week as Soros, so it's just weird to also like be like, hey, this game's coming out, and also buy our first party game too. A lot of the other things in here were neat, like Zero Paradise and ChronoScript. Like, I didn't mind those things. Deus Ex being remastered and Dynasty Warriors 3 being remastered, that's fine. But then there's a lot of stuff in here that's like, why are you showing Halloween an entire year before it comes out? Like, the release date is literally next September. That's practically a year away. Like, I don't get that. The Let It Die game being like this PvP, VE extraction game kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't really expecting that. Last Epoch, which is already available on PC, I just don't see that being a big thing there. Neo 3 being having its launch day announced, that's cool, like that. I'm sure a lot of people really like the Code Vein 2 thing. Gran Turismo 7 getting a free update. Like, I don't think that's like a state of play worthy thing. Like, that's just like a update for the game. Like, maybe they're just struggling to find things. I don't know. Mega Man DLC, we already knew about this. I understand why it's here, but it's also like Sonic's already like the game was already out by the time that this DLC was announced, so I don't understand that. I liked Battlefield 6 showing up, but the PS5 controller for God of War and the desktop speakers really left a lot to be desired, especially that God of War controller. I feel like the God of War controller bumped this thing down at least a whole tier, in my opinion. And also the fact that there wasn't a one more thing. They left you with Wolverine, and it was like, yeah, that's a high right there. But at the same time, like, they did the whole like montage thing at the end, and you're like, okay, there's got to be like one more thing. Like, they're gonna announce like something that we don't know about, right? And no, they did not. Nothing there. Which I thought was a bit disappointing. Like, sure, maybe I don't, obviously, like, I don't deserve to get another thing there. Like, I don't think that's not the way that Sony operates, right? They're not like, oh, they deserve a one more thing. I get it. Not every company's going to do that. But at the same time, with how this whole showcase was and set up and all that, it just felt like an opportune moment to be like, and here's our one more thing. It's God of War trilogy. It's something new, something else. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, my list of expectations were pretty high for this state of play, and really none of them were met besides from Wolverine and Soros and Gran Turismo 7 DLC, which for somehow I accidentally predicted that when I was making my list. So yeah, everything else was just kind of like cool or yeah. And that left me with a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. And I like I said, I ranted about this state of play for quite some time afterwards. In the end, I'm going to give it a C tier. Could have been better, in my opinion. And as a person who is like a Sony fan, I've had Sony consoles for a very long time now. It just really felt like they were scraping the bottom of the barrel with everything in between of Soros and Wolverine. So, hate to say it, but it is what it is. I was debating what we should do next on the episode. I feel like we should do What's in the News. Okay, the ROG Xbox Ally. The prices have finally been revealed, and pre-orders are now live across multiple platforms and places. And stay seated because the whiplash from the price tags will probably make you faint for a second, especially if you're a person who games on a budget, as I said already in this episode. So the ROG Xbox Ally, which has two different versions, there's the ROG Xbox Ally regular, and then there's the 1 terabyte SSD, 24 gigabyte version. That's called the ROG Xbox Ally X. The regular version, which is probably going to be the model that a lot of people end up getting, is $600, $59.99.99. Or I'm sorry, $599.99. I'm sorry, I went a little bit too. It's not 59,000. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a $600 console. And like I said, this one's the main difference here is it has 512 gigabytes of standard hard drive space with 16 gigabyte, I believe, of RAM, right? It also uses the AMD Ryzen Z2A processor. This is probably going to be the one that most people get. This is the more budget friendly one, if you want to call it that. I'm not that surprised that the price of this is so high, but I was expecting this price tag for the X because most ROG allies or ROG allies are like $500 to $600, right? That's been a trend among other ROG allies. If you look at the Legion as well, the Legion Go, that is $700 for just the base version with 16 gigabytes. So technically, it's about $100 less than the competition, but at the same time, it's still a very pricey thing. Now, the one thing that you don't get from the Legion or whatever other handheld consoles that you might pick up, this one has the Steam OS, the Steam and the Xbox OS built into it, so you can actually switch between Steam and Xbox willy-nilly with a click of the button, which I think is a really cool thing. It should make games that load up on the system either through Steam Deck technology or Xbox mobile technology fit onto that screen without any issues. A lot of problems with most handheld devices that aren't like Nintendo or Steam official is they load in a game and it's a small screen. It's not right, or the settings aren't exactly right for a handheld device, so it makes the performance lower. And you have to do a lot of tweaking with like buttons and all that stuff. But here it should just run, which is a good thing. Now, this is the one you've all been waiting for, which I'm sure you already have heard about because it's a giant news article. But the ROG Xbox Ally X is $1,000. It's $999.99. And this is a sleek black design with the 24 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD. It does use the AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme processor, so it's a little bit different in terms of processing. This is for the person who wants to play the high intensity games with no caveats, no hurdles to go over. And yeah, this is a very pricey item. It's about as pricey as the original the ROG Ally X, which is pretty much just the last generation version of this, essentially, without the Xbox integration, of course. It's about $100 more than that. The Legion Go 2 is $1,099. So once again, the pricing doesn't feel all that expensive compared to the other handhelds on the market, not just from ROG, but also from Legion and other places as well. So you get this very high price point for these devices, and I don't agree with the pricing. Don't get me wrong. I would rather this be like I would expect this to be like a $700 handheld console. But you're getting it for $1,000. Like that is absolutely crazy. The difference between this and the Legion Go X, the Legion Go 2 has an 8.8 inch screen, whereas the ROG Allies, both of them have a 7-inch screen. And this one also comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte of hardware space. So it doesn't even have a SSD in it as well. So I mean, you can do the comparisons as all you want. You know, you can compare prices and specs and stuff like that. I feel like if you do end up buying the ROG Xbox Ally, whether it be the X or the original version, you probably are going to be getting a pretty nice piece of hardware. Now, personally, I will not be going anywhere near this until it at least drops down $300-400 in my opinion. The other thing too is I'm not really a handheld gamer. Like I have played games on handheld, like the Switch or like the PlayStation Portal. I've done that stuff, but it's not where I that's not really where I go to when I'm gaming. If I'm just around the house, I'm playing on the PC, I'm playing the PlayStation, I'm playing the Switch too. It's all I'm on my couch or at my computer desk. When I'm out and about, I actually choose mobile specific platforms like the Nintendo 3DS, like the PSP. Like these are things that I'm playing that are small, compact designs. They're not going to waste battery while I'm playing them. I'll be able to play them for a couple of hours at least if I'm getting like an oil change or something like that. I don't need to worry about a bulky box that they come in, right? With like how big these devices are. So that's just personal preference for me personally. But it might be something that you want. And honestly, with it being an Xbox Game Pass machine, essentially, kind of like how the Xbox Series S was, I can see a lot of versatility with this. Just opening up the Xbox menu and being able to play from hundreds of games if you own Xbox Game Pass as well. I mean, yeah, that's a really cool thing. That's a really cool thing. So they've already announced some add-ons for this as well. There is a micro SD card from SanDisk that is supported by the console. It's the one that they are recommending that you use. This is up to 2 terabytes of storage. There is a Seagate FireCuda 530R SSD. Unleash ultra-fast speeds, extreme durability, and unrivaled performance. The FireCuda supports Microsoft Direct Storage for seamless gaming and is available in 1, 2, or 4 terabyte capabilities. So that sounds like an add-on, kind of like how they have an add-on for the Xbox Series S to increase its performance. The ROG Xbox Ally 2-in-1 premium carrying case. This is going for $70. This is an Xbox branded case that fits the Xbox Ally handhelds with water repellent exterior, soft fleece lining, and unique zipper. Boy, might as well just wear it as underwear with that price. Then there's also the low budget ROG Ally carrying case and screen protector starter pack for about $30. Microsoft even says in the listing that this is just the beginning for ROG Xbox Ally accessories. It's a pretty basic case, no real fluff about it. And if you want to check that out, it will be available leading up to the release of the console on October 16th. So yeah, I mean, if you want to spend a bit of extra money, I mean, what's an extra $70 to get a carrying case for this thing, right? But at the same time, like, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Like I've been kind of going back and forth about it in my head. Like it is fairly priced for the other handhelds on the market, right? But also at the same time, like $1,000 for the high end version of this. That just feels insane. It really does. And there are actually some differences with the other regions as well. In the United Kingdom, it's £500 and £800. In Europe, it's €600 to €900. In Canada, it's 800 Canadian dollars compared to 1,299 Canadian dollars for the Ally X. And in Australia, it is $1,000 Australian dollars for the ROG Ally, and it's $1,600 for the Xbox Ally X. That is also pretty crazy. Those numbers are definitely inflated. That is not just like tariff pricing. That's not just like currency exchange pricing. That is a very big bump, and it's pretty much simply because it's a continent that's way away from everyone. So it getting the parts and getting the consoles to these places is a bit tougher than other locations. So, yeah, this is a crazy price point, but at the same time, it's also like technically not crazy because it's literally like lower than the higher, or not the higher brand, but the other brand that I was talking about, Legion Go or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, as long as I can play Minecraft No, I'm not. I'm not even gonna make that joke. Let's move on. I'm not gonna even make the joke. I'm not. You can imagine what I was about to say. All right. Other news: Nintendo of America's president Doug Bowser has announced his retirement after only a couple years of being the Nintendo of America president. 2019 was when he stepped up to be the president. Now 2025. At the end of 2025, he will be stepping down from the position. December 31st will be his last day in the role. His replacement has already been named, a person by the name of Devon Pritchard, who has been at Nintendo of America for almost 20 years. They are currently the executive vice president of sales, marketing, and communications. They will also be joining the Nintendo of America board of directors and will become the Nintendo CO Ltd executive officer when they take over. Other changes are coming too. Satoru Shibata will take over as the chief executive officer, in addition to maintaining his position as managing executive officer and corporate director of NCL. Shibata has been president of Nintendo of Europe and Nintendo of Australia previously in his tenure at Nintendo. Bowser's departure will be what was that, like 5 years or 4, maybe like 6 years he was the Nintendo president of America, then Nintendo of America president. He joined the company back in 2015 as vice president of sales and marketing. Doug Bowser, not Bowser himself. Bowser has been a very impactful character in the world of Nintendo. But Doug Bowser himself, he appeared in that one Nintendo Direct where he made the joke about, hey, I'm Bowser, or whatever, or I'm actually Bowser, the new president. Other than that, he really hasn't been that much of a figurehead. Like, Reggie was the ultimate figurehead, right? He was all over the place. They put him into Nintendo Directs. He was in commercials. He did a whole bunch of stuff for Nintendo. It was very outward and vocal about it. Doug Bowser was much more pulled back. He seemed much more like a corporate CEO. He didn't really feel like I'm one of you kind of guys like Reggie Fils-Aimé was. So we'll see what the new Nintendo of America president will be doing when she takes the reins. But as of right now, Doug Bowser planning to step down December 31st. So there you go. Also, just want to do a shout out to NintendoLife.com. They are where most of the information that I just read off is from. So big shout out to them because I definitely did not remember that off the top of my head. In a quote from current president of Nintendo, Shuntaro Furukawa, he said, "I would like to express my gratitude for his strong efforts." He's talking about Doug Bowser. Now he's talking about Devon, who will become the next president, has also made many contributions to Nintendo over the years. I am confident that, like Doug, Devon will continue to support Nintendo's important mission of creating smiles. Yes. So, yeah, there you go. In a quote from Pritchard, she said, "I am humbled and excited to take on this new role. Doug has been a fantastic mentor, and I look forward to building on an incredible foundation he has helped establish." So there you go. What do you think about this? I'm sure there will be literally no change. They'll probably show her, or they'll have her come out for a Nintendo Direct, and then we probably won't hear too much from her after that. She'll accept her awards at the Video Game Awards and stuff like that. I just feel like at this point, because of the way it was handled by Doug Bowser, I feel like that's the new way that Nintendo wants to do it. They wanted to be more of a corporate head and someone who's just kind of there, right, to accept the awards and say some things, some quotes. But like I said, like Doug Bowser, he was fine. Like I remember saying he had a weird take once upon a time. It might have been earlier this year. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I mean, for the most part, he was just your average CEO. Nothing too crazy there. So we'll see how the new person does once she takes the reins on January 1st, 2026. All right. If you don't recall, PlayStation Stars program has been shut down essentially, or it is shutting down. PlayStation announced its new rewards program, which not a lot of people are very hyped about, and with good reason. So PlayStation Stars, wasn't the best thing ever. There was some like NFT type things you can get from that, but you could also redeem your Stars points for various, digital currency kind of things. There was also like avatars you could buy and stuff like that as well. A whole bunch of stuff in there, all digital, mostly, you'll be able to get it with these digital points. But now with the new PlayStation Rewards program that they are pushing out, you'll get rewards for playing games, and you'll actually be able to buy physical merchandise instead of getting like an avatar or whatever. So once you unlock specific trophies in a game, there will be merch tied to it. And the example they have over here is Ghost of Tsushima. There's I don't know what the trophies are, but they have a ring or a medallion. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe a pin inside of a box, and they also have a shirt that has like the Ghost of Tsushima kind of like vibe to it. And the merchandise, the shirt was costing like $30 for the T-shirt, $25 for the pin, and you could only purchase these things if you got those trophies in the game. Which, I think that's like a cool idea to like, oh, I got the platinum trophy for Ghost of Tsushima, now I can get XYZ. Oh, I got this trophy in The Last of Us Part 2, so now I can get the Ellie T-shirt, or I can get the comic book, the physical comic book or whatever. I think it's an interesting idea, but at the same time, they definitely should keep the digital rewards there, because if this whole system is just physical rewards that you need to pay extra money for, obviously that's not going to go down well with people. And honestly, I tend to agree. Like, yeah, it's kind of annoying that, you do these things in this game, but instead of getting stars points, you get, the ability to purchase something. And the costs aren't like terrible, $30 for a T-shirt, $25 for a pin. It's not terrible, especially if it's a high quality thing. But at the same time, like, do you really want to spend more money to get some merchandise? I mean, if you're a super fan of whatever game that you're playing, sure, you'll probably fork over a couple of extra bucks for something like this. But at the same time, if you're going to take away the digital stuff, like the digital, you could redeem points for $5 in store points or store credit, or you could get like avatar stats and stuff like that. If they take all that stuff away, and they just replace it with all this paid stuff, not really that crazy about that. And obviously there's a lot of animosity towards this back and forth. I'm kind of split down the middle on this one. It doesn't like annoy me like I feel like it's annoying a lot of other people, but at the same time, like, I can see both sides of this argument, where it's like, yeah, it's cool that they're putting out these physical items you can get for doing stuff in the game, but at the same time, it is an extra thing that you need to pay for. I'm sure you have to pay for shipping and handling as well, along with any fees that go along with it. So in the end, it's just a way to get some more money out of the player, which is not going to look good at the end of the day. Along the same lines, well, kind of, Magic the Gathering is doing trading cards for PlayStation characters, including Nathan Drake, Aloy, and the Ghost of Tsushima himself, Jin Sake. These are launching on October 27th. If you want to buy the packs, there is a $40 box and a $50 box, and I'm sure that there's also going to be like not singles, but like small card packs as well available out there as well, which I'll probably buy a couple of them just because this is a cool idea. The latest of these Magic the Gathering sets that came out, Spider-Man and Sonic the Hedgehog, I do not believe that they were very well received, so I'm hoping that these are better. Now, I don't play Magic the Gathering, so let me know if this is a good thing or not. There are characters from a lot of different Sony IPs, though: Uncharted, God of War, The Last of Us. Let's go through a couple of these things here. We have Joel, the Resolute Survivor. He's a legendary creature. Whenever a creature token dies, put a 1/1/1 counter on Joel and draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. There's Ellie, the Brickmaster. Distract the Horde. Whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, that attack player creates a trapped 1/1 black fungus zombie creature token named Cordycephus, infected, that's attacking your opponent. All right. Abby, the Merciless Soldier. When you cast this spell, create a number of 1/1 black fungus zombie creature tokens named Cordyceps, infected, equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. Abby enters under the control of an opponent of your choice. Alrighty. Ellie, the Vengeful Hunter. Play 2 life. Sacrifice another creature. Ellie deals 2 damage to target player and gains indestructible until end of turn. Then we also have Nathan Drake, Treasure Hunter. First strike. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast spells you don't own or to activate abilities of permanents you control but don't own. Whenever Nathan Drake attacks, exile Exile the top card of each player's library. You may cast a spell among those cards. We also have Kratos, the god of war. Double strike. All creatures have haste. At the beginning of each player's end step, Kratos deals damage to the players equal to the number of creatures that players control that didn't attack this turn. We also have Kratos, the stoic father, and Atreus, the impulsive son. Aloy, the savior of Meridian, and Jin Sake, the ghost of Tsushima. So Aloy, vigilance, reach. In you, all things are possible. Whenever one or more artifact creature you control attacks, discover X, where X is the greatest power among them. And then Jin Sake, whenever Jin Sake deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Whenever a creature you control attacks a player, if no other creature are attacking that player, choose one. Standoff, it gains double strike until end of turn. Ghost, it can't be blocked this turn. I'm sure there's more cards mixed in there, of course. These are just the main ones that they were showing off here. Yeah, like I said, I'll probably buy a pack of these or so. I think it's a cool idea. I think that these are the artwork looks nice. I think the abilities, even though I don't understand them, sound cool. But at the same time, I don't know. Like I said, I don't play Magic the Gathering. So if these sound good to you, let me know. Let me know what you think, whether good or bad. Speaking of bad, Borderlands 4 has been delayed indefinitely for the Switch 2. At this point, they do not have a new release date. They actually canceled all pre-orders for the game, both digital and physical, which is pretty crazy. In a post on Twitter, they said, "Greetings, Vault Hunters. We need to share that the release of Borderlands 4 on Nintendo Switch 2 is being delayed. We do not take this decision lightly, but are committed to ensuring we deliver the best possible experience to our fans, and the game needs additional development and polish time to do that. Our hope is Our hope is to also better align this release with the addition of cross saves, which we are working on and recognize is very important. We will update you on the new release timing once we're fully adjusted to our plans. In accordance with Nintendo's policy, all digital pre-orders to date will be canceled. Customers can initiate that process themselves now, or it will happen automatically on September 26th. For questions about the blah 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 blah, we graciously appreciate your feedback, support, and patience to our fans in our community. It's truly what keeps us going. It was originally slated to release later than the other versions of Borderlands 4, of course, on October 3rd. But now we don't even know when the game is going to come to the Nintendo Switch. On one side of it, it's a good thing that they're delaying it. If it's not ready for a release on the Switch 2, delay it and come out with a better version of the game. On the other hand, they really waited until like the last possible minute. Next week is October. Next Friday is October 3rd. Like, they were 1 week away from a disastrous launch, I guess. And they were probably, let's be honest, working their developers overtime to try and get this port out, which is pretty shitty. The canceled pre-orders, I mean, it's a good policy by Nintendo. If they're not going to hit that release date, let people's money get back to them. At the same time, though, kind of concerning, the Switch 2 version of Borderlands 4 needing to be pushed back. I guess I'll update you all when we know when it's going to come out now. Also, Professor Layton and the World of Steam has been delayed until 2026. This game was announced at a Nintendo Direct a little while ago now. And they are officially pushing it out of the 2025 release window. From the official Layton website, there was a post that said, Level 5 Inc. would like to begin by offering its sincere apologies to all fans who have been looking forward to the release of Professor Layton and the World of Steam. Although the release was originally scheduled for 2025 in order to deliver the game in the best possible form, the launch has been rescheduled to 2026. We deeply regret any inconvenience this delay may cause and greatly appreciate you understanding and continued support. We didn't really see much of this game, at least, we saw Professor Layton show up at, I think it was one Nintendo Direct, right? I don't think they showed it off multiple times. So I guess it's not like we've really seen much of the game, right? It kind of felt like the game was going to get delayed, and here it is. It is delayed. So I guess we'll see more about this in 2026. Let's go ahead and move on to what's coming soon. That's right. I'm leaving what I've been playing until the final section. Ooh. Arc Raiders. This game is coming out soon on October 30th. October 30th. What do I need to say about it, though? Well, they are doing a open beta test between October 17th and the 19th, which will essentially really stress test their servers, make sure it's ready to go when the game does ultimately release. This new beta will not. You won't need to sign in. I'm sorry, you won't need to sign up or pre-register for this beta. There will be free. It'll probably just be a beta that just shows up on the PlayStation Store or Steam or whatever. In a quote from executive producer Alexander Grondel, he says, "Our goal is simple. Make sure that on October 30th, when players go live, every player experiences the game exactly as we intended, polished, balanced, and ready for action. By stress testing the servers now, the team will be able to identify any major issues," which is a good thing. Now, hopefully these issues aren't so major that they need to delay the game, but I feel like they're at a point where they're allowing lots of people to just pump into the game. They must be pretty confident. If you want to buy the game, the standard edition is $40. The deluxe edition is $60. And if you pre-order the game, you'll get a range of cosmetic items and bonuses, along with a new emote. There's also a kind of like premium version of the game, or the deluxe edition of the game, which will include bonus emotes, bonus skins, and 2,400 of premium currency called Raider tokens. This is I'm pretty sure it's a third-person shooter or a first-person shooter. Looks like it's going to be another one of those like hero shooter type things. We'll see if this one fares any better than Concord. Hideo Kojima had a pretty big presentation. He showed off his movie and TV show stuff coming out, but he also had two very big important things to talk about. One of them is Fizzant or Psychant. Fizzant. This was shown off at the last State of Play, or this was shown off at the Summer Games Fest opening day, I think. Whichever one that was. He revealed the poster for the game, which shows a person draped in like a half cape kind of outfit with armor underneath it, some baggy pants, and a SMG of some sorts. This is a PlayStation exclusive game coming around. He announced that 3 people have been cast for roles. We have Charlie Frazier, Don Lee, and Minami Hamabe. Don Lee, famous actor, very good actor. The other two I don't really know, but I'm sure they're good. He also showed off the new and improved graphics that he's going to be working on. Like the faces that he was showing for Fizzant looked amazing. And people are wondering, is this game going to come to the PS6? And honestly, I have no clue. I have no clue. But that was pretty cool. And then he also had a trailer for his Xbox exclusive game, OD. And a lot of people were saying, me and myself included, this looks very PT-like. If you don't recall, PT is one of the most infamous demos of all time, where the game took the world by storm, and then because of what happened between Konami and Hideo Kojima, it was canceled. They took it off of the store, and you can't play PT anymore unless you play like a hacked version, or if the game was still already downloaded on your PlayStation, right? And this OD thing looks really cool. Not only do the graphics look amazing, it does look very PT-like because of the candles and the eyeballs moving around and the overall horror nature of it. But then also by the end of it, you're getting a close-up on this person's face, which was one of the people shown off during that trailer that they showed during Xbox, one of those Xbox showcases, right? And her face like starts to like get like all these like weird symbols on it, and then like some hands come around behind her and like hold her face. It's very interesting indeed. So I would definitely check that out on the Kojima Productions YouTube channel. Very, very cool. And if this is the spiritual successor to PT, I think we're in for a real treat. Once again, this is coming to Xbox Game Studios. I believe it's coming to Xbox Game Pass. But that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, Phil Spencer and the like are very excited to have this game under their banner, and we'll see if it does eventually come to other platforms as well. But right now, it seems to be just an Xbox exclusive, but we'll see. All right, you know I detest talking about Fortnite, but this is a pretty big one. Daft Punk is coming back together for a Fortnite collab. All right. No, the band is not getting back together to make new music, as we know, but they will be joining the lineup of various characters in Fortnite. There's four different skins for the two different characters. Um, it's hard to describe them, but it's from their a few different eras of them being around. There will also be four songs added to the game, including "Instant Crush," "Get Lucky," "I Feel It Comin'," and "Starboy," all featuring or having Daft Punk as the lead. You can also get the skins inside of Lego Fortnite as well. There you go. And yeah, that's about it. The skins look fine. I mean, they're Fortnite skins at the end of the day. You know, I don't really care, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Daft Punk coming back to do this little collab. Um, so there you go. All right, Forza Horizon is back, folks, with Forza Horizon 6. During the Tokyo Game Showcase, Xbox came out and said, hey, we're bringing this Forza series, we're bringing them to Japan. So, this new Forza game is going to take place in an open world version of Japan, complete with a city and neon lights to go with it. Also, Mount Fuji in the background will probably be a staple for this as well. I like the reveal trailer for this. They kind of went through a bunch of license plates for the other various locations that they've made games in. You know, Colorado, France. I believe there's one in Germany or the UK. They also had the one that was the last one was Forza Horizons. I think they had a license plate for that as well. But yeah, like a pretty cool reveal, and Forza Horizon 6. That is coming eventually. There was no release date given, but the time span of 2026 was there. Okay, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is coming around, of course. I'm not really that stoked for this, all things considered, but, I'll still give a few updates here and there when they're needed. They had a trailer for the new multiplayer gameplay that they're showing off, and then we also got to look at what the game has in store for its multiplayer. There are going to be 18 maps at launch with 30 weapons and 20 score streaks, or over 20 score streaks. There's a couple of maps they showed off in the trailer. Some of them you might recognize. There's a fair amount of maps returning from Black Ops 2, including Express, Hijacked, and Raid. The other 15 or so maps are going to be completely new, and 6 of them will be able to be sampled in the Black Ops 7 beta, which will take place next month. That begins on October 2nd. You can also get early access, 3-day early access if you pre-order the game. The open beta phase runs between the 5th and 8th of October, including a new one called Overload, which is a beta that will be 15 modes to choose from, which is they're probably just testing, much like how Arc Raiders was just testing their servers out. The game is going to launch on November 14th still, if you're waiting on that. So there you go, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Lots of maps, lots of weapons. I mean, the gameplay looks fine, but we'll see how that works and how that goes when the game finally does release. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. This was a Switch 2 launch title that had a console exclusivity at the time, but now it is officially coming to other platforms on December 8th. I believe it's coming to Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation. The caveat here is that there is not an upgrade path for Yakuza 0 to the Director's Cut Edition. You have to actually buy the game in its entirety again, which is kind of shitty in my opinion. Sega says Yakuza 0 Director's Cut is the definitive edition of the critically acclaimed prequel to the Yakuza series. Fight like hell through Tokyo and Osaka entertainment districts as Yakuza, Kazuma, Kiryu, and Cabaret club manager Goro Majima in an epic crime drama of intertwined fates that created legends. So if you don't remember, this has some new cutscenes and some new content in the single player, and then there's also like a multiplayer mode as well added onto that. I do not know if this is getting a physical edition, but the Switch 2 version of the game was a game key card. So maybe if you were holding out on getting it on the Switch 2 because it was a game key card, if they do a physical edition of this on PlayStation 5, it'll hopefully have the whole game on the disc. But I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. Romeo is a Dead Man. I forget when they showed this game off, but they had a new trailer at Tokyo Game Show. It's an extremely bloody action game coming from the same people who, of course, made, Killer is Dead and stuff like that, right? Um, the trailer itself is pretty crazy, much like most of the games coming from the studio. But it's also very gory. Hey, step back. It goes to Yotai and Marvel's Wolverine. We got the next bloody, crazy game here. So this is obviously a hack and slash game with some shooting mechanics in there as well. It looks very good. This is slated to come out in 2026, and I think it's going to be a very cool and interesting game. And if you don't know, these games are also very bizarre. So keep that in mind as well. In the press release, they said Romeo switches between swords and guns to fight, wipe out waves of enemies that stand in your path to give birth to a new kind of bloody action, and take down the fearsome space-time criminals that await. Absorb the blood of your enemies to unleash Romeo's special attack, Bloody Summer, capable of turning any situation around. Romeo's various weapons can be strengthened and altered as the story moves forward, as he takes even stronger enemies on. So yeah, if you want to check that trailer out, it's on Grasshopper Archive's YouTube channel. All right, the Ace Attorney trilogy is getting a much-needed update for a lot of fans of the series. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy, which launched on PS4, Steam, and Xbox back in the day, is getting some new things to it to bring it up to speed with the other collections that have also come out. In the new update, which will release on November 19th, there will be a gallery mode, a scene editor, episode selection, the ability to customize voiceover and text separately, story mode with essential plays of the game for you, and 2 new languages supported: Latin American Spanish and Brazilian Portuguese. I think it's a pretty nice update to bring it up to spec, and that'll be available on November 19th. And if you already own the game, you get it for free. The trilogy released in 2019, so it's been a couple years now. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is getting a video game. Who could have seen this coming? So I already looked at the price for this. It is woefully overpriced at $40. Essentially what you do is you play through the events of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It seems to be a pretty basic kind of like I don't even know if it's like a platform. It just seems like a very basic game where you essentially watch the characters do their thing and you walk around a little bit. And like the graphics are fine, like it's nothing crazy. At the same time, though, it's like, did we really need this? Also, for $40-something, like, really? The game is available right now if you so desire to pick that up. Just in time for the Halloween season, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This is coming Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation, and Steam. This is also coming from Game Mill, who have a very bad track record of video games. So, keep that in mind. And then finally, for what's coming soon, Nintendo Switch Online has added 2 new games with the GBA service, and they are Mr. Driller 2 and Klonoa Empire of Dreams. Both of these are available right now if you own the Expansion Pass service for Nintendo Switch Online. Klonoa Empire of Dreams. The ruler of a distant empire suffers from a serious case of sleepless nights. In his torment, Emperor Julius passes a law forbidding his loyal subjects from ever dreaming again. Our hero Klonoa and his friends Hugh Pow find themselves in front of the Emperor, charged with dreaming of an adventure. So, it's a little puzzle platformer kind of game. And then Mr. Driller 2. Join Susamu and Anna as a mysterious outbreak of blocks threatens the world's existence even once more. Armed with a mighty drill, dig deep through multicolored blocks until you reach safety. Not all blocks will be breakable, so be careful. Yeah, that's fine. I think both these games, I've never played either of them, but I do know the series, so it'll be nice to check them out eventually. Japan will also receive the same titles, with obviously with some benefits to being like the original Japanese releases of them. That is that. If you want to check those out, those are available to play now. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to what have I been playing this past week. For context, once again, I'm recording this a day later after the concert I went to
We went to Kublai Khan featuring Gideon Drain and Guilty something. Yeah, it was a good show. All right, let's talk about Hollow Knight Silksong because I did beat the main mission, or the main like Act 2, I guess you could say. Um, I know that there is an Act 3. I get that. I understand. You gotta do some of the more important side quests and whatever. I get it. But at the end of the day, I felt like by the time I was done with Act 2, I kind of feel done with the game. Um, I did not enjoy this quite as much as the original Hollow Knight, which is unfortunate because I think that Silksong is pretty well designed and has a lot of good ideas in there. I mean, the visual style is obviously, 10 times what Hollow Knight was, but yeah, it just wasn't really speaking to me on the same level. And I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I don't know. It just really didn't resonate with me the same way that the original Hollow Knight did. That's not to say that Silksong is bad, not by any stretch of the imagination. It just I don't know. It did live up to the hype, I guess, especially early on when I was playing through the first part of the game. But yeah, I was just like, by the end of it, I was just kind of like, okay, let's just get this over with. And the final two bosses of Act 2 weren't really that bad. People are complaining about this Lace fight. That's like the second to last boss fight. I don't know. I found her much easier than the first time you face Lace in the game, so wasn't really too worried about that. And there's of course a million other boss fights in the game that are more difficult than the final boss fight. Like the final boss fight doesn't even have a hitbox when you go near them, so it was kind of a just a couple of pattern recognition kind of things, and then you're good to go. Um, so once we rolled credits, I did do a couple of extra side things on stream, and if I do decide to do anything else for the game, it will be all off stream, whether it be side missions or getting to that fabled Act 3. But I don't know if I want more of this game. I felt like I didn't feel satisfied with the ending of Act 2, and I guess that's on purpose because you get that Act 3 that you can get on you can unlock, which gives you more areas and more things to do, more platforming challenges, all that. But at the same time, like I do feel like they should have made it a bit more satisfying to finish off Act 2, But I felt like at that point, both of those bosses at the end were just easy, and they didn't give me the same challenge as most of the other bosses in the game. And there are quite a few bosses that I struggled against. And there's also a couple that I didn't. The big robot guy, I felt that was just a two-try type thing. But at the end of the day, like maybe I mean, though the sections leading up to the final boss fight for Act 2 were insanely difficult. Like that was I mean, maybe not insanely difficult, but they were very difficult, like aggravating, frustrating. I definitely was getting heated during some of these moments. There was a 15 wave group of enemies you needed to defeat to get a song from one of the architect guys, and that was just punishing, in my opinion. That was just punishing. You go halfway through it and there's a regular boss or a mini boss, and then they double the mini boss for the second part, and it's like, or the last wave, and I'm just like, damn, like that is insane. I talked about it last week, but their attack patterns didn't match up sometimes, which is essentially the Godskin duo criticism, where it's like you have two enemies here who just have no chemistry together, but you're putting them together for no reason at all. I get it; it's challenging, but it's also a bit unfair at times. The game itself has a lot of cool things you can find. There's a lot of different fighting styles in this one. You can unlock like a regular fighting style from Hollow Knight. You can unlock a more punishing version of that. There's a beast one that I saw. One of the people I watch who streams was playing with this Beast Claw mode, which the downward attack is now like a spinny attack, and then when you go to heal or bind, you actually have to hit the enemy in order to get your masks back. You can get 3 masks back for that. I thought that, I mean, that was pretty cool. It's a bit more challenging than the regular stuff, but I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, there's just a bunch of things you can do on the map. Like, this is a Metroidvania through and through, but there is a lot of backtracking and going back through these areas and trying to figure out what what to do essentially. The one area that I really don't like is Bile Water, which I know is a basic take, like, and I know the Sinner's Road is also pretty difficult as well. But that whole area of Bile Water just really grinded my gears. Not as much as the Ascension area or whatever it was called, where you went through like all those flying enemies with the little rotating mechanical bugs. Like, that area, I think, pissed me off the most. But Bile Water was an early skill check of like, okay, you're getting to some of the harder parts of the game, and it's one of those areas where you couldn't really explore too much off the beaten path because you need to have double jump, which I do have now. So yeah, I am planning on going back through and taking a look around some of these areas. Right, I think that I think that the allure of Act 3 is enticing, and maybe after I take a couple of maybe like a week or so off, maybe I'll get back to it and begin the second part of this journey. But as of right now, I feel content. I'm like, yeah, I did it. It's fine. And I'm sure there's other people who would scold me for not doing Act 3 or even trying to get Act 3 right now. But at the end of the day, it is really my play through the game, and I felt like I was kind of done with the game at that point. But like I said, if a couple weeks go by, I pick it back up, maybe I'll make some progress there. Maybe I'll head to Act 3. That also sparked a debate in one of the Discords that I'm in, where people were saying, well, if there's credits, that means it's the end of the game, right? And personally, there are a lot of games that we've played on the channel and elsewhere where you get a credit roll. Nintendo is notorious for this. You get a credit roll and then the rest of the game opens up. One of the most egregious examples is Mario versus Donkey Kong, where you roll the credits and then you get like all of the good levels in the game after that. Like, all the levels leading up to that is pretty much just tutorial basic shit, and then you get the actual hard levels after the credits roll. The same thing happened, or I guess a similar thing happened with Donkey Kong Bonanza, where you roll credits and it's like it feels like a satisfactory ending, right? But then they're like, oh, but you can go back through and get Pauline to write her song. And it's like, well, that's enticing as hell. Like, I'm gonna do that. But why is it after the credits roll? I feel like I feel like this should be part of the main story. But yeah, this game has the same thing where it's like, okay, you roll credits and they don't even tell you that, like, oh, there's actually more to do. Like, they just plop you back into the map and give you that same objective of taking down the boss at the top of the citadel. And it falls upon the players to either talk about it between themselves, spoil it for other people, or just figure it out yourself. Which is fine, it's fine. But at the end of the day, when you see a credits roll, that feels final to a lot of people, and they mark it as like finished or whatever. I personally marked it as beaten, not finished, but beaten. Well, I guess I did mark it as finished when I did my reviews, but I know that there's more to it, and I actually wrote in my review, like, I know there's more. I'm probably going to do more with the game. But just right now, I need a little bit of a break. And we'll see how that goes when I pick it back up. But as of right now, I'm landing on a 3.5 out of 5 for Silksong. It's still a good game. Like 3.5 is not a bad score at all. It's just it's a bit lower than I was expecting to give it. But I've talked about it in depth here a couple of times. And just there's some basic annoyances with the game that I feel like I didn't really have with Hollow Knight 1. And there are a couple of baffling design decisions throughout the game that caused me to have frustrations that I wasn't. I guess I expected to get a bit frustrated with the game, but not for these like dumb reasons, design reasons. Um, but I mean, you can definitely feel the inspiration for this one. Like, there's a whole section where you get thrown into a jail randomly, and it really feels like the Bagmen from Bloodborne. And it's like, well, that has to be a definite like callback to the Bagmen, right? Like, I feel like there's no other way to slice that. It is literally the Bagmen throwing you into the prison early on, um, which I like. I like that they wear their inspirations on their sleeve. Um, so yeah, Hollow Knight Silksong, I found it enjoyable. Gotta take a little bit of a break from it, and we'll see how it goes. I also played and finished up To a T. That's right. I talked about that game, 3-4 months ago at this point. Was dragging my feet playing this one because it is just a bit boring. I was surprised at how uninvested I was in the story. Like, there was nothing going on throughout all 8 chapters or episodes that really pulled me in. The mechanic of being stuck in a T-pose just really didn't factor into most of the gameplay, and I was very much like, why even have him in a T-pose? Like, why even do this? It doesn't really do anything for the game other than have the weirdest reveal of all time at towards the end of the game. And if you don't want spoilers, skip past like 15 seconds here. But the main spoiler is, and this might be obvious, the mom has sexual relations with the letter T, literally the letter T. And she becomes pregnant with the letter T. And I was like, okay, at this point, it's like, we've gone completely off the rails. Like, I kind of figured something like that was happen, but at the same time, you don't really want to think about it, right? But then they do the grand reveal, and it's like, wow, really, really. There's also a bunch of like episodes that don't really feel like they link together. Like, there's an episode, I think it's episode 5, where you play as the dog, and you're doing all these random miscellaneous things with this group of animals who are like in a secret league together. And at the end of it all, you get eaten by like a lion fountain statue. And I was like, what? And then the next chapter is you're playing as the mom searching for the dog with her son. And throughout the entire episode, like, it's just a bunch of like, go here, go here, go here, and look around, but he's not there. And then you go to the restaurant in the game, and the dog is just sitting there. And it's like, what the fuck? And they don't even explain how he got there. Like, it's the most ridiculous. It's like the dumbest thing ever. And on top of all of that, the game is just boring. Like, there is nothing going on in this game of value. Like, it starts off with an interesting idea of, oh, you're stuck in a T-pose and you're doing like these basic tasks in a T-pose. And it's like, okay, I hope they expand on this. They never do. They never do. Instead of expanding on the idea of being stuck in a T-pose, they just go off the rails. They go in a completely different direction, which is like, okay, subverted my expectations for sure, but also at the same time, you made the game piss boring. There is nothing going on here. And I love the Katamari series. I love the developer, but dude, this was not it. In my humble opinion, this was not it. And that is to say that I do not recommend playing through this game. I think it is just way too boring, and there's nothing going on. The open world is boring, and there's things to do, but it just really was not enticing. And on top of all that, the camera is terrible in this game. You're walking around and you're trying to figure out where to go, and the camera has like, this is a visual thing here. So the camera is here, right? My entire camera. I am right here walking forwards, going to the stage left. Okay. The camera it stays in the same position, so you can't see where you are going. You cannot see in front of you. You're just at the edge of the camera the whole time. I don't need to see the other half of this screen here. I just need to see what's forward, but they won't do that. It's especially annoying when the dog isn't there to guide you to your next objective, where you're playing as the dog or as the mother, and there's no guiding principle for you. So now you're just kind of like pushing on the edge of the camera to make it move, and you don't know where you're going. And you can look at the map and see where an objective might be, but there's some times in the game where there's no objective marker. You're just kind of going willy nilly, and it's like I do not know where the fuck I am right now, and I'm just trying to find the next balloon or the next objective, the next thing I need to do. It was highly frustrating. The other thing that really started to irk me about the game is like even though the soundtrack is good, I really like the soundtrack and the main song is catchy. They play the main song at the beginning of every episode, and then they play this giraffe song towards the end of every episode. It's the same fucking song, and they do tweak it a little bit based on story stuff going on, which I thought was fun at the end. But throughout most of the game, it's just the same song again, and then you have like the random acapella kids like telling you what happened in the story that you just played, and it's like I don't need this. I don't need this. I am playing the game through. I do not need this type of thing. In a Telltale game, it made sense to have a recap at the start of the episode. In this game, it doesn't make sense because the levels are so short, and the game goes, it has at least it has a brisk pace to it with its levels. They're pretty short, all things considered. So it's like I don't need the recap for what just happened because I just experienced that. And I had to take like 2 months, 3 months off of this game because I was just getting so bored. And I came back to it and I was like, wow, I remember why this was so boring. I think I mentioned it last week. And I played one episode and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this. But then I just pulled up my big boy pants. I said, you know what, Greedy Waffles, I don't want to play Dying Like the Beast today because I need to finish to a T. And what a bad decision that was. What a terrible decision that was. I should have just played Dying Like the Beast because then I would be talking about that instead of this. So, my apologies, but shit kind of sucks. I ended up giving it a 2 out of 5. I know it seems a bit, a bit more positive than I was just talking about here. But there are some things I like about the game. I like the graphic style. I like the character designs. I think there's a lot of cool character designs in there. The music is fun. I do like the music when they don't overuse it. I like the interaction with the characters. I thought that the basic idea of being stuck in a T-pose is a good idea. Just it doesn't get realized throughout the rest of the game. And at the end of the day, I did like the customization aspects, the clothing aspects. You find all this money, you can buy extra clothes and stuff like that. I thought that stuff worked pretty well. And then towards the end of the game, you can actually get different hairstyles too by talking to people in the town, which wasn't the most entertaining thing ever, but I did like that level of extra customization for your character. So, to a T, 2 out of 5. Okay, I've also been playing a game called Clover Pit. This is a gambling game. Wow, Yemmy, you love Balatro? That's a gambling game, right? Oh, Yemmy, you played all these gambling games. You must be a real gambler, huh? I do have some tendencies. I'm self-aware enough for that, which is why I stay away from loot boxes and sports betting and stuff like that. I know that I have a problem, so I stay away from that stuff. It's a healthy thing for me. But if there's a game that is $10 or less, and it gives you that satisfaction of a gambling mechanic without actually being gambling, I'm all for it. Let's go. So what is Clover Pit? So Clover Pit is a indie game made by the same people who did Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom, and if you don't recall, that game was on my top 10 list from last year. So this game was on my radar pretty early on, and it's essentially a game where you play a casino jack. What's that called? A jackpot machine? What's that called? What the fuck is it called? A slot machine. Yes, okay, slot machine. The word escaped my brain. So you're playing this demonic, satanic, whatever you want to call it, slot machine where you pull the lever, and then depending on how many like symbols you get that are in like rows and patterns, you get money based on that. So, of course, you want to go for the 5 or above patterns because you need to make money to get keys to unlock the door to escape this, like, purgatory prison type thing. And it's like a very small room, very claustrophobic. The graphic style is very similar to Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom, but while at the same time, the effects of like the PS1 or I guess like Sega Saturn or whatever type 3D graphic rendering style they use feels more uneasy than it does in Yellow Taxi Go Vroom. That feels more like joyful. This one's like evil. So essentially, you try and earn enough money to earn your escape. And it's a roguelite, so you get these random items at times you can buy with little tickets that you get too, that improve your stats or give you buffs or whatever. So the first like three, or I guess the first two rounds of this, so each round consists of three spins. And once you get to that third spin, you have one last chance to insert your money into the machine so the floor doesn't fall out from underneath you and kill you. So you need to earn like, I think the first one is like 25 or no, not 25, 70 coins. You need to earn 70 coins. So as you're playing, you're trying to get those 3 in a row or 4 in a row or 5 in a row, and then there's also V's up and down. There's an eyeball one, and then there's a jackpot. The jackpot is having all the screen be the same thing, which is obviously what you want to get the most of because those give you big bonuses. So you earn money for each of these things. You earn the least amount for 3 in a row, and you earn the most amount for the jackpot. And once you earn enough coins, you can either choose to insert your money early and get more tickets in return, or you can try and earn more money but get less tickets for completing the wave or the round. So it's kind of a give and take there. I do tend to try and earn more tickets early on so that I can focus on the money later. But I haven't really found a good strategy quite yet. I did beat the game, not beat the game, but I got to a point where I was able to get a key and unlock something for me to help me with my future runs. So that was cool. That was good. So I am planning on, obviously keeping it up on this one. So after round 2, they introduced the 666 mechanic, which means if you get 666, they add sixes into the roulette wheel, and you get it in a row. It'll erase any money that you've earned from that round. It doesn't erase all your money, which is good. Thank God. I've gotten that when I've had a bunch of money before, and so essentially it erases your bank for that round, which is quite annoying, especially when you get later onto the game. So essentially, that is the main gimmick of the game: is spinning this roulette wheel, trying to earn money to escape. The little add-ons you can buy them with those tickets. They're like Chuck E. Cheese tickets, right? You unlock things with those Chuck E. Cheese tickets. So there's a couple that help improve your luck, and a lot of times they're random boosts to luck. They trigger randomly. There's one that I use a lot, or I have used a lot, where you actually get at random times you get an extra spin for free, and I've been using that. There's another one that ups the rarity, or not rarity. It ups the amount of times, or what's the wording for it? It ups how often a random event will trigger. So I use that combined with the one that gives you extra rounds, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. There's a whole bunch of them though. I could go on for hours about these things, but the main gist of it is you buy these items, they give you boosts, they help you out. Sometimes they have extra effects to them or extra negative effects to them, like having 666 be more, have a higher percentage of showing up. But those are things you have to weigh pros and cons. There's also a Bible that you can buy that'll negate a 666. And it has a 50% chance of being destroyed after it's done. So that's something that I kind of sometimes have in my back pocket, but not all the time. So, at the end of the day, the main goal is to earn money, find more of these items to help you, get the keys to open the door, and hopefully that's your escape. Now, I don't know if you open that door, maybe it's like Inscription, and you go into like a new room that's like 15 slot machines. I don't know. Yeah, so far it's been really fun. The one thing that the game is missing is a killer soundtrack. There's really no soundtrack in the game at all. It's just you spinning that machine, and it makes the noises of a jackpot machine, which is fine. But I was oops, I was hoping for some like really good soundtrack because Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom has a killer soundtrack to that. Clover Pit though doesn't really have any OST to speak of, so the song at the end of this episode will not be from Clover Pit. You can guarantee that. Why are my fingers crossed? No, I'm kidding. um, but yeah, Clover Pit, definitely check that out. It's a relatively cheap game at like $10 or so. It's also supporting a indie developer that I highly recommend with Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom, and it's another game that I feel like is very good. So I would recommend checking that out. There is a demo available for the game if you want to check that out. Um, but yeah, thumbs up. Thumbs up for me. I've also been playing more Chronos: The New Dawn. I don't have a lot to say here because I just wanted to mention the game is very, very good. I've gotten pretty far in it now, and I can tell you that the story stuff has become much more interesting, even though it's already been interesting, but it's much more interesting. The mechanics of the game are starting to really come together, and I'm really enjoying my time with it. So check out Chronos: New Dawn. I'm not going to say too much more about that right now. I'll talk about it more when I finish the game. We finished 2 other games on stream this month, other than Hollow Knight, Transformers the game and Infamous First Light. I'm just going to talk about these pretty much together because I don't have much to say about either of them for different reasons. Transformers the game. This is based off of the Michael Bay movie, and it's just your kind of basic tie-in movie game. Greedy Waffles and I played this when we were kids. I didn't really remember much from it, but it is one of those games where it's like, okay, you kind of play through it, and it's a big nothing burger. It's a lot of the same thing over and over again with some very annoying mechanics mixed in, like, oh, after you defeat these enemies, you got to get to this objective in 20 seconds, or you need to restart the whole level. And I was like, okay, let's slow our roll here. I disliked the game enough that I really did not feel the need to play through the Decepticons storyline, which maybe that was better, but from what I saw in the gameplay I was watching post-stream, it just looks like the same thing, where it's a bunch of basic objectives. Instead of defending things, you destroy things, but at the same time, during Autobots campaign, you destroyed things as well, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, the main thing is just like it's a basic movie tie-in game. Didn't really have too much fun with it, but we played through it. We got credits to roll. I gave it a D tier as in dog. D tier as in dog. Transformers the game. Unfortunate. And then Infamous First Light. This is a pretty good side game for the Infamous series. This is actually the last Infamous game that we got before Sucker Punch started working on Ghost of Tsushima. And it is very much worth playing. It's like a 2 to 3 hour playthrough. The Platinum Trophy isn't too bad either. It is a little challenging here and there, but it's not that bad at all. And I did the Platinum Trophy for this one back in the day. I think it was like 2018, 2017, something like that. So I didn't feel the need to do the 100% on this one. The main difference here is I think the side content in First Light is not as good as the side content in Second Son, and it's hard to really compare the two games because one is a very bite-sized piece of an infamous game, while the other one being a full-fledged Infamous game. But at the same time, First Light's side stuff is just not as engaging, not as fun as the side stuff for Second Son. And I think it's because you're essentially liberating Seattle in Second Son, whereas in First Light, you're kind of just being a bit disruptive, and it just doesn't really have the same punch. Also, the collectibles are not as fun to get, and the moveset is obviously just the neon moveset, so it doesn't have that versatility of having like 3 or 4 different things you can switch between. That's not to say that's bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it just has a bit more limited because it's only like a couple hour game. Now there is like wave defender modes you can play, which are really fun. I remember playing those a lot. And then also the free roam does have some good main mission stuff going on. I feel like the main missions in the open world are a lot of fun. The story in this one is pretty tight knit. It kind of goes the way that you expect it to go, of course. But at the same time, It's a good story. It sets up Fetch's stuff from Second Son very well. The final kill for the game is also absolutely brutal, like top 10 kind of brutal deaths kind of thing, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I mean, it does suffer from the was a DLC turned into a main game type thing, much like Freedom Cry for Assassin's Creed or Uncharted. What was that called? Uncharted. I forget what the Uncharted game is called. That was a side story, turned into a main mission, a main game. But yeah, it's still a good time though. I think it's a very well designed game. I think it works pretty well. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. I think it's very fun, and I think that if you have it or if you haven't checked it out and you like the Infamous series, definitely play First Light. It's very good. So, and that'll round it out for today, folks. This was a long episode. We had a couple of short ones in there, so it's about time we got back to a long episode. Am I right? Let's go ahead and move on to Guess That Song. If you know the name of the song and the game that came from, let me know in the comments below or on Spotify, and I will give you a heart and a congratulations. Or come over to the Discord, link down in the description below, and comment in the Ferret64 section and say the song name and the game that came from. I will give you a super reaction, and you will receive the admiration of your peers. Let's go ahead and listen to today's song right now. All right, y'all. Thank you so much once again. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure you, like the video on YouTube or rate me on Spotify out of 5 stars or give me a review on Apple Podcasts. I very much appreciate that. If you have friends who don't know about the podcast, share it to them. You send it to your mother. I don't know. I don't know. Send it to your mom. Post it on Facebook. All likes and ratings stuff like that are very much appreciated. It does help the episode, the podcast grow. If you want to check out anything else I do, it's all at Yemmy the Ferret, whether it be on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, etc. I also have a Blue Sky account. We stream on Twitch on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. We are just about to start our Halloween streams, so buckle in, strap in, get ready for that. My background will be Halloween-themed the next time that you see me on this podcast, or if you watch on Monday, it'll be Halloween-themed there. Anything else is, like I said, it's all at Yemmy the Ferret. I also do a podcast called Film Freaks with a Z at the end. We talk about movies. That's a bi-weekly podcast. The latest episode is about Big Fish. The next episode, which comes out next weekend, is about the movie Glass Onion, if you want to check that out. Also, another podcast I do is Fubar Ferret. There should be a new episode coming up this week. That's a monthly podcast. I shoot the shit. It's kind of a BS kind of podcast. If you want to check that out, that'll be available soon. Thank you so much once again. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I am out of here. So long. The Ferret64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Small sound clips used throughout the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The song in the intro and outro is Nightshade by Adhesive Wombat. The Ferret64 logo was made by Player2P2. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions, video game related, are my own. Thank you for listening.